everybody. Sorry for that technical difficulty. We had a few things going on, but we are back to reintroduce myself. Jennifer Box here, and I found along the path my husband Kevin. So together we're going to explain a little bit about one of our most prized sculptures here at Missouri Botanical Garden, Masterpiece.
Yeah, so this is a piece that Jennifer and I did way back in 2013, and we had read for years about the story of great luck and wishes coming true for those who participate in what's called a senbazuru, which is a Japanese word for folding of 1,000 cranes. Millions of people around the world have done this, what we call a paper folding pilgrimage, where you fold 1,000 cranes one after the other. It takes a lot of perseverance and meditation, but you have an opportunity to really engage in a process of peace and bringing peace to the world. So we created Masterpiece, it's spelled P-E-A-C-E, as a testimony to that, as a sculpture, sort of a monument to that paper folding pilgrimage that people have done. And we cast 1,000 cranes in a single year. 500 of them are captured in this monument that's held here at the Missouri Botanical Gardens. And the other 500 cranes we actually scattered throughout the world as individual collector's pieces, so that the piece could exist in one place and many all at the same time, as well as when we display it on a beautiful reflecting pond like this, you can actually see all 1,000 cranes are together in the reflection.
Oh.
And for me as an artist, I love to use anything I can to symbolize meaning or the most important things in life that are invisible. And so for me, the reflection really captures that. You know, these cranes do exist, they're out in the world, but we can't see them necessarily all here today. So the reflection brings those together. It also reminds me of people that have passed on before us, our ancestors. Each crane is a different size, and so having the larger cranes maybe represent the older people in our lives, or the elders, or our people that look after us, like parents and grandparents. And as it goes up, you can see the cranes get smaller and smaller, maybe representing the children of the next generation. And so the reflection goes the opposite direction. But it's designed to capture, for me, the essence of family and ancestors and all those that have come before us.
If you can see way up on top, that crane there, the very top one, he has a little olive branch in his mouth. That olive branch is a symbol of compromise. And we know in order to have peace prevail, you need some compromise. You need conversation, you need compromise. And for me, the different sizes too in the individual cranes, it's each person needs to find their own inner peace, and then collectively we can all live within peace. So I really like the last little crane that Kevin added up on top with the olive branch.
And I'll just mention for those who are tuning in right now that this reflection and that olive branch on top may not show up super well on video, but it is really beautiful here in person. You should definitely come see it. Origami in the Garden opens this weekend, and it will be here throughout the summer into October. So definitely make sure to come and check this out.
We have a few more pieces I think we're gonna walk and go see now that
we're back live and running. I'm sure it's going to be beautiful. Masterpiece, also with the lilies that the garden plants. I mean, it's just going to keep continuing to grow throughout the summer.
Yes, definitely looking forward to the lilies going in. Sorry, Kevin, what were you going to say?
Come see and share in the good luck of 1,000 cranes. This is a great location that's just right around the corner from Masterpiece. And this is a Pegasus, obviously, a winged horse, but the title of the sculpture is Hero's Horse. And this is fabricated stainless steel, where we take sheet metal and cut it into pieces and then weld it together, versus the cast stainless steel that you saw in many of the other artworks. What's fun about the Missouri Botanical Garden is we have a lot of traditional bronzes in the collection, and right across from here is a Jacques Lipschitz sculpture that is also of a Pegasus. It's hard to see there in the shadows, but if you get a chance to come out and see the other bronzes, this is a great conversation between sculptors, you might say, where Mr. Lipschitz has a bronze that's telling a similar story about the Pegasus. And for me, what's exciting about the Pegasus is the fact that it's a story of hope and heroism. There was a legend in the Greek mythology where a hero wanted to save the world, and in order to do that, he needed help from a divine source. He needed help to do things that were beyond his own capacity. And I like to think that humanity has that capacity. If you have an authentic heart and you really want something, that help will come, whether it's from friends or family or divine nature or God. It's just about holding that in your heart and then going for it. So in this case, the gods delivered a winged white horse, and it helped him fly around and overcome evil. The original design for this piece was made with Robert J. Lang. It was a collaboration. I did a sketch of a Pegasus and said, hey, can you make this out of a single uncut paper square? And he said, I don't know, but I'm happy to try. He always loves a good challenge. But he was able to achieve that. And in the visitor center, you can see when you come in, there's the 1-to-1 scale model that's cast in bronze now, but it really shows the original design that he folded, as well as the unfolded piece, which really shows the single uncut square and all the details and all the folds that are hidden beneath the surface. The neat story that tells as well for me is at the end of the story of the Pegasus, it says that it flew back into the stars and became the constellation that we can still see in the night sky. And for me, the idea of unfolding the Pegasus and showing the unfolded star pattern, which really does look like a beautiful star, completes that legend and that myth of unfolding into the stars.
Do we have time for one more, do you think?
I think we do.
All right. Right outside of the children's garden, we placed Emerging Peace. And what I love about a lot of the artwork, and when you're walking in the garden, right now it could be some abstract thing. You're not quite sure what you're looking at. A lot of times right now I'm looking at it, it kind of looks like a flower. This, like, maybe there's a bloom on top and the green could be the stem. And so that's what we love about the exhibition, is that while you're walking through, sometimes it can be very abstract. Then you can get closer and realize what the piece is. You could read our interpretive copy, and that's basically what, as artists, we've thought the piece has meant to us, but it doesn't mean it has to mean the same thing to you. So you can be looking at the piece and have a completely different story come to you, and that's just great with us. And now when I'm getting closer, you can start to see that there is actually a butterfly, and that's the first, for me, the most recognizable piece. But then you have to do a little bit more exploration. I think Kevin will explain the piece a little bit more. See if you can't see, though, from home, the different elements of this sculpture.
So this was a collaboration with Michael G. LaFosse, and he's an internationally renowned origami master, not just for his capacity to fold origami, but also because he makes the paper that he folds. And origami artists from around the world actually commission him to make paper for specific designs that are really difficult to find the right paper for. So Michael's interaction with the plants and the different pulps and things that actually go into making paper are really what makes some of his work stand out. So we collaborated with the Naples Botanical Garden in 2016 to create this original design. And although Michael had been known worldwide for his origami butterflies, he'd never done the full story of the life cycle of the butterfly. So I was really encouraged to take his ideas and his designs to another level, and asked him to make a caterpillar and a chrysalis so that we could tell the entire story. The fascinating thing about the life cycle of a butterfly is, to me, the story of the caterpillar, this voracious appetite that it has in the beginning of its life to consume and eat and eat and eat, and it can eat over 2,000 times its body weight in a single day. depending on the caterpillar. And for me, I realized that at my age, I'm 43, and I sort of grew up seeing the population of the world explode, and to see billions of people on this little planet, this small resource, with this great appetite, reminded me a lot of a caterpillar on a single plant. And it kind of looks like the plant is doomed with this caterpillar and this incredible appetite. But if I studied the life cycle of the butterfly, and as I began to learn more about it, it gave me a little bit of hope, because I could see that nature has a design and has a plan. And with that appetite, the plant is actually sacrificing itself to some degree, because it needs the pollinator, the butterfly, that comes at the end of the story. And so there's this moment of pause, just when you might think that the plant isn't gonna make it and the caterpillar's appetite is overwhelming it. There's this pause when it becomes the pupa or the chrysalis. And to me, this pandemic has been an interesting correlation to that pause, that here we have as an entire world pause and given some time to reflect and reassess our relationship and our balance with nature. Once that time period is over with, the butterfly emerges. And that's why I called this emerging piece, because it is a process of emerging and finding our true nature and ourselves, and where we can be in balance with the world. And the butterfly is a very important player in the role of flowering plants and the foods that we eat. The plants need that pollinator to go around and share the pollen and to fertilize the flowers and make seeds. And butterflies can pollinate thousands and thousands of plants for hundreds and hundreds of miles, something that the flowers just can't do by themselves. So for me, it's a symbol of hope that nature itself has a want and actually is willing to sacrifice a certain amount to create something that has great purpose. And I hope we can find that in our own lives.
And I've noticed too, I mean, this is the great thing about coming more than once, which you've mentioned before. This is probably the third or fourth time that I've been by the statue since it's been installed, and I'm just noticing the egg.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So it really is the full life cycle.
Yep.
Well, and there's even one more little hint that I'll give you. This is for you and your viewers. On the back side of the stem is actually white, right?
Okay.
So down here, where the leaf has come apart, if you come around here, you'll see the white. So here we have the white. A lot of times we associate butterflies with milkweed, because, for instance, the monarch, we know, loves milkweed. And for me, that invisible part of the plant, that heart of the plant, or the want of the plant, is white, right? And in the end, the piece becomes a white butterfly. So as an artist, I like to attach and associate little clues like that to sort of show this idea that the plant actually wants the butterfly and is growing the butterfly. And it's connected with that idea of the white milky substance within the plant that's invisible until you break it open to look inside. And there it is again, repeated in the white butterfly. This is actually cast bronze. It has stainless steel inside of it that's engineered to help hold up all the weight of the piece. And it has a cupric nitrate patina, which is done with a chemical called cupric, which is basically a copper salt. And we apply it with heat. This is a lot of cupric. I call it the Statue of Liberty green patina, because the Statue of Liberty is one of those sculptures where we see that copper turning really green in the salty air. And as it goes up, the butterfly is actually made out of cast aluminum, and it's painted white with a polyurethane finish to give it a nice durability and a contrast to the bronze. It's on a steel base that's rusted, that gives it an earthy feel. And then you can see that little polished part down there you referred to, that you just discovered as the egg. That's the little idea of the caterpillar egg, but it's also the truth of the material. So that's what bronze looks like in its raw state. So since we couldn't fold paper this big, We actually folded the original model and cast a model that was about 20 inches tall, and those were all done 1-to-1 with the actual paper and wax. And then to do this scale, we didn't just like water it or use a special powder, you know, magic powder. We have to enlarge it using digital technology. So we scanned the paper models with a laser, and then we enlarged it with a CNC machine and styrofoam, but we still have to finish it digitally. So we put clay all over the styrofoam and digitally sculpted all the detail that you see on the surface here before we made rubber molds and went into the very simple 35-step 12-week casting process known as lost wax bronze casting. Lost wax can be used for bronze, you can pour aluminum, stainless steel. We used all those different metals and those different technologies in the exhibit.
Okay, I think we can finish up and just let people know what else they can see, maybe?
Well, there's a photo contest, so we're always excited to let everybody know that if you can make it to the garden and bring your camera, we're looking for really creative, high-resolution photography, and it's up for 6 months, so you have the chance to actually come back in different seasons, and you can win a sculpture. So one of the final winners will get a bronze statue, and I think second and third prize gets a t-shirt and a gift bag with some really cool Origami in the Garden swag, as we call it.
Definitely. Well, we have at the visitor center, there's the Inside Out exhibit, so you'll start there and see some of the unfolded pieces. And then pieces that you weren't able to see, there's a fun game piece. I'm not going to give it too much more attention, so you have to come and check it out. But there's also some bison roaming the green grass area, flying birds.
Boats floating in the lake by the Japanese garden.
Japanese garden, a moment of zen. So hopefully you can come out and also join us here. If not, I hope you enjoyed your time here on our virtual tour. But I think I'm going to sit down and you want to come join me?
Let's just
hang out for a little bit, contemplate the show and being outside in nature.
Bye.